Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to AFC Bournemouth Analysis. Here's my preview of the Crystal Palace game and how we can avoid being taken by the Eagles' clutches. That doesn't really work, does it? As the Southampton game showed, we are improving going forward, or at least improved from the Burnley display midweek where we were toothless. So that's a positive that we can build on. And of course Palace aren't that good themselves. They had a horrible start to the season and they're still in the drop zone. We're 5 points clear of them. They've only won 2 games all season, both at home, both quite narrowly. So, you know, there are reasons to be optimistic going into this weekend, I think. And our away form is also pretty good. Now, Palace are in the drop zone, but they have turned themselves around a bit after their first 7 games. They didn't get any points and they didn't have any goals. I think that set several records. But Roy Hodgson, obviously a lot of people have been critical of him, but you can't criticise the job he's done so far at Palace. He's made them hard to beat. They've had 2 clean sheets in a row away from home, 2 0-0 draws. And at home, he lost his first game in charge of Palace at home, I think. Oh no, he won the first game or something like that. But he lost at home to Southampton. But then after that, they're unbeaten in 4 home games. So he's made Selhurst Park into a bit of a fortress, which it's never really been the last couple of seasons. So yeah, they're definitely not a team to be taken lightly. They're not like Swansea in poor dire straits. They're definitely moving up, and I think they do have the quality to get out of the drop zone. But hopefully we don't give them a hand this weekend. And then there's also the fact that Simon Francis, who will of course almost certainly be playing at right back, will be up against Wilf Zaha, and I don't really need to spell it out. That is terrifying. And finally, another reason to be fearful is that we're under quite a bit of pressure to get something out of this game. I don't know if that will translate to the players, but our fixtures after this are Man United away, Liverpool at home, Man City away, and then there's a lovely trip to Stamford Bridge in the League Cup in between all that mess. So yeah, if we lose this weekend, we could be staring down the end of 4 consecutive defeats. I don't mean to be defeatist, but just looking at those 3 games against the top sides, I can't see us getting much out of them even with our improved defensive record. So yeah, it's quite a big game, and that is part of the reason why it's quite a worrying fixture. I mentioned that Simon Francis will probably play right back, but of course he might not. We might play 3-5-2, which we've only played twice so far this season, I believe, both in narrow defeats to Chelsea and Man City, both at home. We actually look quite good in that formation. I think we always look better with 5 in midfield. I prefer 4-5-1, but 3-5-2 is okay too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether Eddie Howe plumps for 3-5-2 against a team that isn't one of the top sides in this division, or whether he'll just stick with his tried and tested 4-4-2. I think 4-4-2 could be a mistake, not just for the Zaha thing, but I think our midfield could be outpowered as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we pick. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-2. Palace have had, I think, a couple of 2-2 draws. Yeah, Everton and West Ham. And obviously Stoke was 2-1, so that was almost 2-2. So yeah, I think it will be 2-2 because we looked defensively shaky against Southampton, but did look better going forward. And I think we can cause Palace problems at the back. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2-2, and hopefully we can sneak it, but who knows. Yeah, 3 people got in touch, so thanks so much for that. The first of them was the ever-reliable AFCB Jamie, who said, "I must not lose in the context of the game, keeping the distance between us and Palace and not letting them gain 3 points. I must win in the context of the season with the games afterwards and continue to improve. We are in danger of moving backwards from last season." On that point of from last season, I can definitely see what Howe is trying to do in this campaign differently. We're a lot better defensively. I think we've conceded half the amount of goals we did up to this point in our first ever season. But going forward, we look a lot less, how do I put it, swashbuckling. We look far more cautious side, and that might be in an attempt to mould us into just a solid outfit that can get points against the lower sides, but not be hugely exciting, and then maybe scrape the odd point against the bigger sides. So far it hasn't quite worked out against the bigger sides. Obviously I think we've lost to all of them. So yeah, obviously we'll get to see whether we've really improved at the end of this month because we've lost a lot of points from games we gained last season and so on. So yeah, I think it's a bit too early to say whether we're going to go backwards, but it's not looking great at the moment, but I'll keep the faith as how, and hopefully we can equal last season's points total, and that would be a success, I think, in my eyes. And next, Joseph Richard, who is Joey R. Tyler on Twitter, got in touch with the show for the first time, so thanks for that, Joseph. And he said, call me pessimistic, but I'd take a draw. They are much improved, and an away game in the EPL is never a guaranteed win. A win would be as valuable as a win against City, United or Chelsea in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, I don't think that's pessimistic at all. As I mentioned, Palace unbeaten in 4 home games, and under Roy Hodgson they're quite hard to beat, to say the very least. And they've got some good players, there's no doubt about that. I think most people have said they're in a false position in terms of the squad they've got, and I think they will avoid relegation this season. It'll be close, but I think it'll be quite close for us as well. So yeah, it's definitely not pessimistic, and I think a draw would be a good result. Yeah. And then finally, Boscombe Albion, also on Twitter, said it's a must win. Extend the gap now because we'll get nothing from the Christmas programme of games. Yeah, that's succinct, but yeah, to the point, blunt and to the point. Yeah, those games don't look great, do they? And yeah, a win would be huge because it could potentially take us 8 points clear of the drop zone, and then you're thinking 8 points clear with those 3 horrible games we've got coming up, it's not so bad. Because then you'd think the gap would only be shortened to maybe 5 or 4 points. But if we lose this weekend, it will be very, very bad, because then the gap is guaranteed to go down to 2. And then you've got to think, with those 3 big games, we'd almost certainly, if not drop into the relegation zone, be level on points with the team just in it. So yeah, it's a big game this weekend, and that's why I've done a preview of it. And it is now ended. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Please do follow AFCB Analysis on Twitter and Facebook. The URLs are here. And do subscribe to the channel and like this video. Comment, let me know what you think ahead of the Palace game and after the Palace game. And yeah, I also write for Yahoo Sport, and I did a mini preview of why this Palace game is so important. And it includes me likening Roy Hodgson to an owl, so that's fun. So read that, the link to that is in the description below, and some links to my past videos are also here floating around my head, and a link to subscribe somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it'll be somewhere. But yeah, thanks again so much for watching, and up the cherries in all departments.